Hi, my name is Nicole Birch, and I am a principal at Williams & Jensen in Washington, D.C. I'm here to talk to you today about the importance of your outreach to your members of Congress to advocate for important policy issues that affect NARA members. It is important for you to reach out because you are the experts on how policy issues have a real effect on patients and providers. Members and their staff look to experts like yourselves to help advise and guide legislation passed in D.C. Setting up a meeting is pretty simple. You can just go to your representative or senator's websites, and most will have a page with instructions on how to request a meeting, as well as the office contact information. It's equally valuable to have a meeting back home in the district office as it is in Washington, D.C. So don't think like your meeting is any less important or any less valuable because it's not happening in Washington. Now that you've scheduled your meeting, here are a couple do's and don'ts to try and make it as successful as possible. First, do your homework. Read the member's bio and the issues they have on their website. You'll find that most members, and especially their staff, do not have a background in healthcare. And so you really want to tailor everything you say to that audience. Think about that as you plan what you want to discuss. And remember, that's why you're there. You are the expert. You are there to provide them that guidance that they won't get from anybody else and they don't have themselves. The first big don't is to keep politics out of the meeting. There's really a hard line between campaign and election work and the regular office legislative efforts that happen in DC. And really, staff and members want you to respect that policy as well. So keep any talk of politics, elections, fundraising out of your conversations. And also keep in mind, you will only have about 15 minutes for your meeting, maybe a little longer. So you want to spend your time on those important issues and not getting into politics. Do make sure you use the resources that you have available to you. NARA has developed talking points and advocacy papers to help you. Use them to craft what points you would like to raise with the member and their staff to identify what bills might be important for NARA members. Also think about what examples you can use from your daily life and your practice that really help illustrate the impact of those policies on patients and providers. Providing these real-world perspectives are just invaluable to members. And again, if they don't hear it from you, they're not going to hear it from anybody else. And those issues resonate, and that's what they're going to remember as they work on policy issues. Make sure you don't underestimate staff. A lot of times, congressional staff are younger, and people have a tendency to think that they maybe don't know what's going on or might not be the best experts, but they are very critical to representatives and senators' offices. The staff are who tell the member what they need to focus on. What are the issues? What's the background? What bills are we working on? So don't think of it as any sort of downgrade if your meeting might end up being with a staff member versus a member of Congress, because that staff member is going to be the one who goes back to the member and advises them on the issue, who will follow up on things of interest to the member and follow up with you on the meeting. And finally, one important thing of this effort is to create opportunities for dialogue. Make sure you go through the items you want to raise at the meeting, but leave space for the member or their staff to ask you questions. We've all sat in meetings, and no one likes sitting in a meeting where everybody dumps a ton of information at you, talks really fast, and then the meeting's over. You want to have questions and dialogue and a chance to delve into the issues. It might also help you identify what areas of particular interest for the member or their staff, and you can try to add some examples of those specific concerns that they have. The other important thing to remember is the goal is to really build a relationship. You want to build on prior meetings you may have had during the virtual Hill visits or at other times, or perhaps this will be the start of the relationship and you'll be able to come back to that member and their staff again with further issues. So you really just want to create an open dialogue with them as best you can. Be sure after your meeting that you follow up with a thank you note to the member and their staff, and reach out to them if there's other policy issues that arise that you think they should be aware of. Again, keep the dialogue open with them. And if you promise to provide them some additional information or look into anything for them, be sure you follow up on that promise you made during the meeting. That goes a long way with staff when you do what you say you will do. So with that, good luck to all of you with your future meetings, and thank you for your efforts. It truly does make a difference to have you out in the field, talking to members of Congress and their staff, and advocating for these critical issues. Thank you all for your help in these efforts.